You're listening to the Player Issue Podcast. Here's your host, Aaron Warwick.
Hello. Welcome to episode 27 of the Player Issue Podcast. Yes, I am your host, Aaron Warwick. Welcome back to the show. It's been a month since the last episode. Hopefully you enjoyed that last episode. It was something very different. A lot of you have told me that you have either enjoyed the show. Very few have actually mentioned that they didn't enjoy it, so that's really good for me to hear. However, if you didn't enjoy something like that, then let me know for sure, and we'll make sure not to do that in future. Or you could simply just decide to not listen to it. But we had some great feedback from it, which was awesome. We really enjoyed doing that recording back in the day when we first got our mics, and we got all excited and jumped in the bed and just decided to record something at 1 o'clock in the morning. Sad thing is we didn't actually ever do a follow-up to that. So I've had a few people message me and say that they enjoyed the show and when can we hear part 2 or where can we hear part 2. Unfortunately, there isn't one. So that was it. So we had the first week of our trip in America. It covered in that episode or that recording that we did. And unfortunately, never followed up with it. So because of that, I've actually been trying to get Emma to record a second part with me. And if we do end up doing it, we'll probably just put it on SoundCloud or something like that, or YouTube even, so you can listen to it on there. But we'll have to see what we could do. It was 2 years ago now since we've been to America. So yeah, I don't know what our memory will be like of that. I know my memory is absolutely shocking. Thankfully, I did pretty much post something every day, or obviously we took photos every day, so we'll be able to remember what we can. So yeah, we'll see what we can do about getting out a second episode or second part to that one, if of course you would like to listen to it. Okay, so now a couple of things before we get into today's interview, which I've been really, really stoked and been trying to get on for quite some time now. Really good fella. I'm stoked that we finally did it because I was really happy to talk to him and finally actually met him for the first time, so that was really good. But before we get there, we'll cover off a couple of things. So I don't know if you've all been following the Facebook page and seen that I chucked up my Monday collection again. Big shout out goes to the lovely Emma, of course, for helping me out with that photo, because I've done it before where I've chucked up the Monday jump, well, put my Monday jumpers, laid them out on the floor, but I only had about 24, I believe, at that point. And I didn't ever want to do that again, because those who have laid jumpers out on the floor and then you're flipping them over again, so you got two photos, but your back's killing you, your knees are killing you by the end of it, and it's no fun, let's be honest. So I did say that I would never do that ever again. Turns out I'm a liar, because as soon as the 350th game for David Mundy come up, I thought, geez, I'm going to have to get my collection out again, because it's gone up a fair bit since that photo, and it's gone up a fair bit since his 300th game as well, where I had, I think, 30 jumpers, and so I had 48 now. So it worked out beautifully that I had 8 rows of 6. I did actually want to get them all in one photo, but yeah, that was never going to happen, so I did split it over a couple of photos. But I laid out the first 24, and I was done. I couldn't do any more. My back was absolutely killing me. My knees stuffed, so I'd given up. And I went inside, and Emma said, "Oh, how you going out there? How you going with laying all the jumpers out?" And I said, "Yeah, no, I can't do it anymore. I'm absolutely done." So his 350th was the next day. So this is why I wanted to do it the night before, because last time when I put up a post of David Money jumpers, media went off. So I had Channel 7 and Channel 9 and all these radio stations calling me, which was obviously great. It was great to get the collection out there and everyone talking about it, which is fantastic, and also, of course, led to the beginning of the podcast. However, I thought I'll just chuck it up the night before this time, and we could just appreciate it as, as collectors and hobbyists. So I did that. And yeah, Emma's come and helped me out, and she's laid out the rest of the jumpers for me, because I just couldn't do it. So yeah, big shout out goes to Emma. I did try and get the drone out as well and fly it over the collection and see what sort of footage I can get from that, but it didn't turn out too good. The drone had a little bit too much wind, too much power under it, so it did make the jumpers go everywhere. So yeah, so I had to stick with. We docked it up a bit of a boom arm, so we docked it up a pole and managed to get the phone on the end of the pole just hanging on there barely to take a photo. So yeah, it would have been hilarious if you're actually watching us go through that, but photo turned out pretty good. And I did have a number of media outlets contacting me, only one for an interview. So that, well, for now, I'll give you more information about that in the future, of a second one that is potentially happening very soon, next couple of weeks anyway. So the one interview that I did have put forward to me or requested of me was the next morning, but they wanted to do it at I think it was 6:50 a.m. and I didn't start work till 10, so I was pretty hesitant to do it. I was on SEN, so pretty decent radio station, and they just said, would you like to join us on the Gilly and Goss show and talk about your money collection? Not putting two or two together. I didn't have any idea who Gilly and Goss were. So I looked it up. Well, I don't know who these blokes are, but I'm probably going to pass because it's too early in the morning. I just can't be bothered, to be honest. So I looked them up and saw Adam Gilchrist and Tim Gossage. Those may not know who Tim Gossage is. He's definitely a West Australian personality. But, of course, the great Adam Gilchrist, ex-West Australian and Australian cricketer, couldn't pass that up. So, okay, I jumped back at him and said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. I can't pass up a chance to chat to Gilly. So, yeah, I woke up to a message the next morning at 4 a.m. saying, can you do it at 6? And I thought, well, geez, no, I'm not going to do it that early. So I said, look, sorry about that. I missed your message. I didn't message them back till about 6 o'clock, or 10 past 6, and said, sorry, I missed your message. I guess you don't want to go ahead and do it anymore. And they said, no, we still want to do it. So I said, we'll do it at 6:50, the original time. So I said, okay, no worries. And 10 to 8 came along. I'm still sitting here waiting for the call. So I jumped in the cave and jumped in front of the microphone and got everything set up and ready to go. And yeah, 10 to 8 came. So I sat in here for an hour and a half just about waiting for this call. And so it finally came 10 minutes before the close of their show. So yeah, I was a little bit frustrated or annoyed, but no, I was stoked to talk to Gilly, so can't complain at all. And so I did the interview and pretty happy with how it turned out, mostly. It was super early in the morning, like I say. Well, in the end it wasn't, but I was obviously got up super early, so I was pretty knackered, to be honest, and don't even remember what I said when I said it at the time. So kind of glad it turned out okay. There was a bit of a moment, which I'll talk about after the interview, which kind of threw me off a fair bit, and I'll chat about it, the potential outcomes and things like that of people, social media and the way they forecast and portray things. So I'll have a chat about that after the interview. So we're going to listen to the interview now. I've actually got it all loaded up and ready to go for you. So here we go. Here is my interview with Gilly and Goss.
I saw this yesterday, from Aaron Warwick. Here is my entire collection of David Mundy issued or worn jumpers. Congratulations, 350 games. You're an absolute champion of the club. And in my eyes, our greatest ever. Mundy 350. We thought we'd get him on 16th for Jake Birtwistle. I'm just been reliably informed. 16th. So there's that's a great performance. Well done, Jake. But let's go to Aaron Warwick, who is, if you haven't seen it, we will post his photo and you can get it on social media. Aaron Warwick. It is incredible. He joins us now. Aaron, good morning. Why is my first question?
I mean, obviously the great man himself, David Mundy, has just been a fantastic player over so many years. So what better player to collect, I suppose.
But where did you start it? I mean, David Mundy drafted, played at Subiaco, played in a premiership, a little known about him. When did you go, he's my man?
Probably really early on in his career, actually, because, watching him run out of the half-back line, just looking like a young Robert Harvey, who was one of my favourite players when I was growing up as well. It's just so silky smooth, and I think it was about 2014 when I found out about you can actually purchase these jumpers that they're wearing on field. So I jumped on the auctions and end-of-season Fremantle Dockers auctions and saw that his jumper was going for about $80 and thought, this is absolutely crazy. I'm going to jump on this. And it's just absolutely skyrocketed from there.
So Aaron, these are all jumpers that you have purchased via online auction or other opportunities. Is that correct? And if so, what do you reckon your investment's been?
There's multiple ways of getting them, but yeah, most of the time it is the Fremantle auctions. They also do end-of-season sales as well, so I've been able to get along to those and, cash in hand quite a lot at times and throw on some dollars down. But as far as investment goes, I mean, just on Dave's jumpers, I honestly, I don't like counting because it's a large number. And we've just bought a house recently, so yeah, trying to keep the pennies intact is not really a good thing when you have this sort of collection. I'd say probably with Dave's jumpers, I'd say at least probably 15 to 20 grand. But I do have another 300 odd Freo and a couple other teams as well all match-worn player issues as well. So the collection, I think, is insured for around about $100K.
Yeah, I was going to say, but we've had a discussion last week, Goss and I, about Grange wine and the way it you get the collection going, you get the full set, and the value that this might be something that increases greatly in value the more games that Mr. Mundy plays as well. Where do you keep all these things?
Well, so I mentioned we bought our house quite recently in the last year, and it was very heavily weighed on what the man cave would look like. So we had a nice big colour-bond shed out the back, which I said, yep, that would be perfect. So I built that up in the last 6 months, and it just turned into a nice big locker area. So I have 4 large Stratco utility cabinets, and they're all in there. So, yeah, close to 350 jumpers are in there. We're
chatting with Aaron Warwick, who has got a huge collection. We'll put it up on our Gillian Goss social media or on SENWA. So are they all jumpers? Looks like there's some training shirts in it. And has he signed many of them?
Yeah, so there are a few trainers in there, as well as his first ever warm-up top that he had as well, which is very, very exciting because it's actually super hard to find some of his early stuff. But there are a couple of warm-ups and trainers in there, but mostly are match-issue jumpers. And, yeah, he's signed quite a lot of them. I've actually become decent friends with him over the years. He's actually going to be attending my wedding, just a side note. And so, yeah, he's signed quite a lot of them over the time. I do work at an electronics store that we are able to trade off for some stuff that he wants, and I get a signature out of him. So, yeah, been lucky enough to get a few off him.
Well, you've just answered my question. I was about to say, have you ever met the great man? But he's attending your wedding. Tell me he's not in the bridal party.
A lot of people would probably think that he would be, knowing myself, but no, I had to hold back on asking him that one. But he is a busy man, so he's not guaranteed that he'll be there as of yet. But no, I have asked him, and yeah, so the invitation is on his fridge. But no, I met him about 10 years ago when he came into the store I used to work at, and we used to just talk games. And he's just come in since then and bought some more stuff, and he sold his PlayStation 3 to me, his personal one, and signed it for me, a nice gold pen. So that looks fantastic up on top of the cabinet. So, yeah, it's blossomed from there.
Aaron, I love your passion. I absolutely do, and I know there's other sort of collectors out there. And I'm going to say this in the nicest possible way. You sound like you're a very nice man and very normal, which is really great. But there is #stalker starting to come up on my radar right here. You are fascinated with David Mundy. You must be thrilled he's playing for another year. There must be another dozen jumpers about to join the collection.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Unfortunately, this year, I think people started to realise how great he actually is. And so he's starting to get the recognition he deserves, and which means that his jumpers are going for a lot higher in value. So, yeah, it's been a lot harder for me this year.
So these prices going up. So are there any other people who are trying to sort of, like when you're at an auction or you're buying stuff or you're at a house auction, there's always someone counter bidding. Are you finding that because he is playing so well that the price has sort of skyrocketed?
Yeah, 100%. So I think last year I managed to pick one up for $1,000, which was his Indigenous jumper. But this year, I don't think his jumpers have gone for less than $2,000. So yeah, it's been real difficult. And even at the sales, they had a mid-season sale this year, and people were sprinting into the middle to grab his jumpers. Now, thankfully, I did actually miss out, but thankfully people do know me around the traps that I am a big Mundy collector. So one gentleman actually came up to me and handed me Mundy and said, "I noticed you missed out. So yeah, here you go, mate. Enjoy this one." So I was real stoked with that.
When's your wedding, mate?
It's October 15th. So yeah, exciting because it's not too far away.
Very good. Very good.
Good on you, mate. Well done.
That's brilliant, mate. As Goss says, tremendous passion, and it's a passion of supporters that keeps these magical sports going, mate. Yeah. So thanks for sharing that with us, and all the best with your endeavours of collecting, and also, more importantly, with the big marriage. And let's hope the big barra turns up for you on the day.
Thanks, lads. Absolutely honoured to talk to you.
Good on you. There's Aaron Warwick. Love it. Love his passion. Very, very passionate about David Mundy, if you haven't seen it. But that's only a trickle of his collection. Yeah. Over $100,000 in jumpers. That is dead set next level. Next level.
Thrown stalker at him.
Well,
I was thinking it. You threw it out there. But, he's not a stalker. He's a genuine fan.
He's correct. 100%. Good on you. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for taking our call. Aaron Warwick, Mad Keen Dockers fan. Let's get a breakaway coming up.
Okay, so there we go. I did enjoy doing that interview. I thought it was great. I obviously thoroughly enjoy talking about my collection any time that I can. Obviously, chatting to the great Adam Gilchrist is absolutely fantastic, and I'm absolutely stoked to do it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. There was obviously that comment from Goss about Stalker. It actually threw me quite a bit. I didn't expect him to bring it up. I probably should have, I guess. But yeah, I didn't expect it, so it did throw me off. But I did, well, to be honest, I went in, I actually edited that interview a little bit, and I didn't take any comments or wording or anything like that out. I left everything in there, but I just edited. There was a pause from myself. I'm not sure what I was thinking of saying at the time, but I remember pausing for probably about 3 or 4 seconds. And yeah, I was just lost at that point, because when he mentioned Stalker, I was like, okay, well, I didn't expect this, so I've got something to come back at him with. But then he even seemed to skip over what he just said and move on to a question real fast, so I didn't actually get to address it. So I'll do it now. So I did actually put up on my Twitter as well. When they gave me the link for this interview, I put it on my Twitter and I posted it on there. And I just brought up a little bit of a comment on there as a bit of a reply to Gossage's Stalker comment. So I'll just read it out, what I actually wrote. So I wrote, there is a pretty disappointing comment made by Goss in regards to being a stalker, which threw me a little bit. Now, I know this is off the quote, by the way. I know he did say some nice things about me before that and after that. It's just, when people say those things, it does get to you. It can get to you. And I just let it go off my back, whatever. I didn't really care so much in the end. But it hurt not me, but it hurt my fiancée, Emma. It actually hurt her feelings, because she heard it and she was quite upset about it. I'm not a stalker. She knows I'm not a stalker. Everyone knows I'm not. Well, some people probably do think I'm a stalker, but that's fine. But most people who do know me, they know that I'm not. But I no doubt that we get this as collectors as well from, friends, family, or just randoms. If you ever show your collection, if you've got a collection of a few jumpers of the one player, you probably get it quite often where people think, oh, you're a bit of a stalker or you've got an obsession. So, yeah, no, we don't. It's just a collection that we have and we enjoy it. There's probably one person out there I can think of who's been banned from a lot of pages who probably is a bit of a stalker, but a lot of us are not like that. Most of us aren't like that. So, moving on. So, anyway, continue on with what I wrote. Social media can be a very cruel place, and oftentimes people will run with what they hear from people they look up to or just find entertaining. Taking this screenshot, for example. So I actually pulled up this screenshot off of Facebook just before that interview, and I left it on my phone. I didn't have it up at the time, but I was pulling it up as quick as I can because I wanted to read this out to Goss as he said it, but I just moved on to the question that he asked straight after. But I wish I did, because, there was a comment, there was a thing posted on Facebook where it was a GIF, and the gentleman had stalker alert as the GIF. Okay, cool. Yeah, move on. There was a lot of those comments on there, but I just moved on. It didn't bother me at all. However, what I did find interesting was immediately after that comment, so I've actually screenshotted it, there was a gentleman named Stuart Anderson. I don't know this gentleman at all. Yeah, shout out to you, Stuart. So he's actually written immediately after that comment, and he's written, he's the king of the collection. The guy's a god. Got nearly every Ferro jumper ever. So, yeah, I don't know this bloke at all, but shout out to you, Stuart, because that's what it's all about. I don't think of myself as king of collection or a god or anything like that, but to me, what it's all about is people who watch and enjoy and just admire our collections, because that's what it's all about, having fun collecting the jumpers and showing other people and them getting a kick out of it and enjoying it as well. So, yeah, the stalker comments, they annoy me a little bit because, we're not. We're just enjoying our collecting. But anyway, I'll just move on from that because a little bit ridiculous, but no doubt we all hear it. But I'll continue reading what I wrote on Twitter. But what I see from this is that for every one comment made, like the aforementioned stalker, there's comments of support and appreciation and admiration for the collection. Take Stuart, for example. I don't know Stuart. I've never spoken or interacted with Stuart, but he sees it for what it is. A collection of someone's favourite players' jumpers and the pride and passion that goes into putting it together and sharing it with the rest of the country to see. Like I said, social media can be a very cruel place if you let it. I choose to look past these comments, misinformed comments, mind you, and to people like Stuart, I simply say thank you, and I'm glad you enjoy the collection as much as I enjoy collecting it and sharing it with you. Don't ever let others drag you down. Passion is what keeps the heart ticking. So anyway, that is my thoughts on people who call us collectors obsessive or stalkers. Yeah. You all understand. I'm sure you all do. So that'll do it for that little rant. I always seem to just have a rant at the moment, don't I, on these episodes? But sorry about that. But anyway, we'll move on. We'll get on to the interview now, I reckon. We'll have a bit of a chat after the interview, as we always do. I've got a couple of housekeeping things to bring up, but we'll get on to the interview today. Stoked to have him on the show finally. It's been probably a couple months in the works. He actually put up I think it was what was it? It was an Instagram post. He put up an Instagram post or a live chat or something, and I managed to jump on. And he made a comment about wanting to be on the show or something along those lines, and I got the hint. I said, yep, cool, mate, no worries, I got the hint. We'll get you on for the next episode. So that was a couple months ago now. So we've been trying for a couple months to get him on. He is a casual worker, so can't blame him. It is hard out there, especially nowadays, to make some money. So I can't blame him for not being available at all times. And, of course, the being in a different state as well doesn't help either. So time constraints are certainly difficult for everybody. But we've got him on now, and I'm stoked to announce that he's here. Here is our interview today with Heath O'Donovan. Okay, Heath, how you going, man?
I'm very good, mate. How are you?
Fantastic, mate. Excited, pumped, and ready to talk to you. It's been a few weeks in the traps now trying to get you on, but we're here now, and I'm excited.
No, it has. No, it's awesome. I'm honoured to be on. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Casual work is painful, hey?
Casual work, mate. Can't stand it. Can't stand it. I'll probably get a call, honestly, in the next few minutes saying, hey, mate, can you just come in and work? We really need you. So.
Well, we better get a crack on and get it going, eh? See if we can get it finished and not in 3 parts.
Oh, boy.
All right, Heath, so where are you from? Well, where are you right now, in more particular, and who do you support and why?
Yeah, so as we speak, I'm in Victoria. I live in Melbourne, a little suburb called Sunbury. And unfortunately, I support the Essendon Football Club. So at the moment, it's pretty rough, but that's okay.
You're in the 8 at the moment, aren't you?
No, in 9th. We were in the 8.
Right.
But GWS have just skyrocketed over everyone.
Yeah, they're playing all right at the moment, so interesting how the next 4 weeks goes, for sure.
Yeah, that's it. No, well, fingers crossed, but I can't see us beating the Bulldogs.
So what made you start supporting the Bombers? This is a question that I ask a lot, but when I think about it myself, I look at Melbourne, or whenever I go there, and you move from suburb to suburb so easily, and it's a short space, and you go from Essendon to Fitzroy or Essendon to Footscray and Collingwood, Hawthorn, but I actually don't know how many people actually live in those suburbs to actually support them. So I've always wondered how Melbourne people decide on who they support. So do you live anywhere near Essendon, or have you?
That's a great question, mate. So I live about half an hour from Essendon.
Yeah.
And I'd probably say Essendon's the closest to where I'm based.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started supporting the Bombers through, I'm sure it's the same with most people, but I started supporting them through family roots. So my granddad, he did grow up in Essendon. He actually grew up on Napier Street, which is on the street where Windy Hill is. And he was the little record boy. He was selling records for bloody 10 cents a pop, and was all around the club, just loving it. And yeah, so it's pretty much gone from there. Mum supported him. Dad didn't really. So Mum sort of got Dad into it. And then because Dad was right into it, I sort of got right into it too. So I've been supporting them since I was a young boy. I went to my first game when I was 9. And it's just been, a bit of heartbreak ever since, but okay, it's been good fun.
It's just whirlwind experiences, right?
Oh, mate, that's an understatement, really, to be honest.
It's all right. I'm a Freo supporter. I know exactly where you're coming from.
Okay.
All right. So before we get too far into it, tell everyone where that they can find you, whoever the listeners are right now, where they can find you and follow you on social media. Yeah.
So Instagram is my. I've got 2, but Instagram is my most used.
Mm-hmm.
So that is at the Hangar Collection.
Yep.
So, the Hangar, Essendon Footy Club, Google it if you don't know how to spell it, but that's what it is, the Hangar Collection. And then Facebook, not to be mixed up with my good friend Matt Tanarchi's page, because there's 2 out there. My one is called the Essendon, it's called Essendon Football Club PI/MW page, Player Issue Match Worn page.
You're right. Do you want to just say that one more time so we can hear it again?
Essendon Football Club player issue match worn page. That's the one.
Beautiful. Okay.
That's me.
Well, the good thing is we've had Matt on previously as well, so you'll be able to bounce off you and Matt's collections.
That's it. Love Matty. Big shout out to Matty. He's
good dude.
He's talking today. Just posted a jumper out to him.
Oh, yeah.
Bought off him. Little Darcy Parish trainer. So
Very nice.
yeah,
Very
very
nice.
good friend.
All right, so a lot of people, no doubt those who have seen your collection or just know of you in general, will see that you pick up a lot of jumpers here and there fairly regularly. And obviously the main question usually is where do you pick up all your jumpers from, etc. So you came up, or when I was asking you the other day, or however long ago it was now, a couple of weeks ago, when if there was anything you wanted to throw in the ring and talk about on the chat today, and you threw a little something at me to say that you actually work at the Essendon Football Club. Is that correct?
Mate, it's that's the truth. It's a dream come true, honestly. It's an honour to be there. I'll say that much. It's pretty surreal still to think about. It's the story dates back a while, so I'll tell the story. But to shorten it, I do work at the Essendon Football Club, so I'm actually one of a few property stewards for the VFL men's team. So, you know, there's a lot more to it than I thought there was. I'll tell you that much. I got there thinking, oh, geez, I get to play with the footy jumpers, warm-up tops and shorts, and that's it. I'm done. Perfect. How good is this? But it's getting the GPSs ready, all the fitness stuff, all of the medical equipment ready, making sure the pickle juice is packed, making sure the Gatorade's there and all that stuff. So there's a lot that goes into it, and it's pretty stressful at sometimes, but my favourite part's obviously working with the footy jumpers. So getting them ready, getting all the AFL boys, VFL jumpers, all the VFL boys, VFL jumpers, the warm-up tops, the shorts, the socks. And yeah, that's pretty much my gig.
That really is the dream for me. That is the dream job.
It's incredible. And the people you meet as well, like you become friends with everyone, the staff and the players. I'm good friends with some of the AFL boys because they're just, you know, you grow up idolising them and then all of a sudden they're just like, you know, you're face to face. They're just humans. They're just like you and me. So it's awesome to, you know, have a bit of banter, have some friendly chats with them. But it's a job I want to keep for a while, and hopefully I can.
Yeah, I can imagine. So where did it start? How do you get into doing something like that? Obviously, it's got to come from somewhere. And did it start out as a work experience type thing, or what was it? What got you started in the foot in the door?
It did. So this is actually how I got into collecting as well. So it's sort of a story within a story. But how I got the job, I suppose, is obviously through work experience. So I went to a sporting school called Cedar College. Just changed my life, mate. It's one of the best schools I've ever seen, really. Like, you see all these sports schools get advertised around Victoria and around Australia, and there's just nothing that compares. So Cedar's pretty much, if you want to get into a work placement or get into a working pathway with a professional sporting club. So I went there in Year 11 in 2018, which was really good. And the whole class, so my whole class actually was affiliated with the Essendon Footy Club.
Right.
So that's sort of what drew me to it. And so we were doing just game day stuff with them, and that was really good. But Year 12 came around, and only 2 people from my class could get placement at the footy club.
Right.
Which so that sort of, it cut things down for everyone. Everyone bust their ass to sort of get that gig. And luckily for myself, I actually was not toot my own horn, but I was one of the standouts. And the club requested me and one of my good friends, Michael. So shout out to Michael. He's obviously listening. Of course he is. He's Michael's a champion. Talk to him to this day. But so me and Michael got the gig there, and we were doing community stuff for the club. So we'd go out to kindergartens and just sort of run clinics and play footy with the kids.
Yep.
So it was awesome to represent the club in that aspect. And so we'd go out with Skeeter, like the mascot and all that stuff. We'd sometimes get a player to come out, and that was sort of our job in 2019.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that all finished up. And 2020, I went on to further studies. And I obviously elected Essendon, and Essendon wanted to have me back. They said, yep, that's all good.
Mm-hmm.
And first week in, April, I've walked in and COVID sort of struck us. So I was there for a week and that was that. I deferred from school and the footy club just sort of went from 80 staff members to 9.
Jeez.
And that was basically it.
So they brought you back though?
Yeah, they brought me back. So I was doing I had a little labouring job that I wasn't overly enjoying. And I got a message from a young man who I won't name for, security reasons, but he's a good fella. He's my boss. And I got a message from him and he says, I messaged him a few weeks before and I said, mate, if you need anything, like you need help with anything, let me know and I'll come down and give you a chop out. And he said, all right, I'll keep you in mind. A few weeks later, he's messaged me and he said, mate, we're going to take you up on that offer. And I just bounced. I was absolutely wrapped. I said, all right, mate, no worries. See you soon. And that's where it all really began for me.
So truthfully, you played it cool, but inside you were just jumping for joy.
Oh, you have to play it cool. I said, thanks, mate. Really appreciate it. Speak to you soon. But on the inside, I was just fucking wrapped. I was wrapped, mate. It was awesome.
I don't blame you at all. I'd be exactly the same. You have the dream, so congratulations on that for sure.
Thanks, mate.
It's good that you got a call back. I actually was going for a job at Freo at one point, and I was basically being told I shouldn't go for it because the money side of it was just not comparable to what I was currently doing. So in the end, I decided not to do it, and I was actually pretty happy with that because, like you said, COVID hit, and most people lost their jobs, and I would have been one of them. So I'm quite grateful that I didn't actually take it up. But it would have been a great job to have, but I wouldn't have it anymore, and I would be screwed. So
yeah, that's it. Well, my one's not actually paid, unfortunately. A few years ago, it would have been. Yep. But obviously, COVID just sort of rocked the whole club, and they sort of needed to rely on those people who were purely there to just help out the club, and that's what I was there. Like I didn't even really consider it work because it's just like I'm at the club that I support, seeing people who I love. That's just the perfect situation for me.
Yep. So it makes sense that you got into jumper collecting from here. Where did it start? So did it start when you were at the club? Did you first get your first jumper at the club, or where did it actually start?
Yeah. So obviously 2019, I relayed you through all the work experience stuff. It was a day in August, maybe July, August, can't remember. So
cool wintry day.
You'd all know about the old Essendon Bombers end of year sale, the one in 2019 that just got posted everywhere. Everyone got some cheap stuff from that. And I came in just before a normal day, and I like to go into the shop, see what's going on, see what's around. Essendon jumpers everywhere. It's a dream. It's all good. And there's this rack in the middle of the store. I'm thinking, what the bloody hell? What's going on here? And it's just stacked with these footy jumpers. I'm thinking, all right, well, they've obviously just they've got too many. I've got to clear them or something. And I picked one up, and I felt the material, that ISC shiny material. I'm like, hang on a second, drop it. Hang on a second. I took the jumper over and compared it to the retail one on the rack, and I thought, what the bloody hell is going on here? So I've got this shiny little ISC player issue in my hand. I think, I just really need this. I really need this. And I looked at the tag, and there was this bloody pocket, and I thought, surely they don't fit their mouth guards in there. What the hell's going on? So I had no idea. I had no idea what it was.
Well, that's super interesting, like to hear where it really began, because a lot of people nowadays they begin because they see it on Facebook or they see it. There's lots of places now where they can find out all about these player jumpers before they ever get their hands on one. But hearing your story is it started literally from you walking in and seeing it and going, hang on, there's a difference here. What the hell's going on? So you start real fresh. I really like that. And it's interesting to hear that it was only 2 years ago. I was probably very close to that day as well, because I walked in at the same time and the rack was in the middle, and I picked up an Irving Mosquito and probably a couple others as well, but from that same sale. So,
what were you doing in Victoria?
I was over there for a work conference, and
Yep.
As always, when there's a work conference on and then we have an hour or so break, I try and get out to the footy clubs and check out all the team stores and see what I can do. I just picked up a couple of Melbourne player issues and went to Richmond and Hawthorn, and yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, I was stoked to rock up to the hangar and see all those jumpers. It was fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. No, it was it was different. It was different. So from memory, there was country ones, there was Indigenous, and there was Kick for Kids.
Yep.
So I got in there on the first day when they'd started stacking everything up. You know, I knew a few of the people from the shop, and I said, "What's going on here?" He's like, "Oh, just a few jumpers we're trying to sell." I'm like, "All right, fair enough." So yep, obviously picked one up. The material's different. What's this? I'm in love, but I didn't have any money, so all the full racks, all the Dyson Heppels, the David Zaharakises, the Joe Danahers, they were all still there. And I thought, mate, like I'm going to come here next week and they're all going to be gone. I'm probably going to be heartbroken. But came in the next week, still trying to save up for something decent. There was half the rack gone. All right, one more week of saving. I rock up again, and there's about 4 jumpers left.
Yeah, right.
So, or maybe not 4. That's probably been a bit. There's about 10. We'll go 10. And there's a few spares, a few long sleeve spares, and there's 2 Sam Draper jumpers. And I pick up this old fella behind me that is hanging up on the wall.
Yep.
That I've still got, and it was a Sam Draper Kick for Kids. And I thought, I don't know who you are, but I'm going to buy your jumper just in case you become good.
Yep.
So that was $70.
Yep. Nice.
So I've bought that, wrapped with it, take a photo of it straight away, show mum, show dad. I'm like, I've just got to play a jumper. Dad goes, piss off, mate, I don't care. Mum goes, what's the difference? I don't understand. But I knew, touching the numbers and all printed on, just completely wrapped.
Yeah.
And I showed Michael. He's like, "Why would you waste $70 on that?" I'm like, "You know what? Starting to think this wasn't a good idea." But got home that day, did some research, and I found the Facebook page. And that was it. I just saw all these beautiful jumpers, and I thought, this is something I can really get around.
You know what? I'm actually thinking that there's a long sleeve Indigenous jumper that is actually in your collection now. And I have a feeling I actually picked it up from that sale as well.
You probably did. And it's funnily enough, it's probably sitting behind me as well in my wardrobe. And it's the Anthony McDonald, Tim Woody one, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm thinking back now that, God, I can't believe I scored that. I can't remember if 2019 he was as big a deal as he is now, but I'm pretty sure he was a pretty big deal still. So
he was. So you've done well there, mate.
I did real well. Yeah.
Well.
It was a good day. I can't remember. I think I might have emailed. No, hang on. Sorry, I didn't. I actually emailed him post the auction that they did for those jumpers, the Indigenous jumpers, and they had a list of jumpers that they still had left over, and that was one of them. So I remember that I'd picked it up for about $200. So it still got a really good deal though.
Absolutely.
So you went back the next week as well?
I did. Yeah, and there was no one really liked Sam Draper apparently because he had another jumper there. So I bought another one, and that was the Anzac one with the red cuffs. It was bloody beautiful.
Yep.
And then I sold it, so I probably shouldn't have sold that because he's pretty good now. But that's all right. I've got that one. I'll be keeping that for a while. There's no doubt.
Yeah, beautiful. Hang on. So you've mentioned that your parents, they didn't really know what was going on, and I get that. My parents never approved of my collecting at all, and it wasn't until I moved out of house that I could really collect how I wanted to, because I literally had just a very small cupboard that I was just chucking them in the bottom of to keep them away from the parents so they didn't know how much money I was spending. But being a young collector, you're a pretty young dude. How old are you?
So I'm 19.
Very young dude. Okay, that makes sense. How do your parents feel about you collecting now that you're 2 years older and your collection's gotten bigger and they're finally seeing the investment? How are they feeling now?
Well, look, Mum's wrapped with it.
Oh, nice.
Like she loves it. She sort of she thinks of it as a business. And I'm trying to tell her, Mum, it's not a business. Like I've got an Instagram page to show them off, but it's just not a business. It's just a hobby. So she's pretty wrapped with it. She thinks that it's going well. She just says, be careful, obviously be careful. Because there've been a few times where I've gotten a little bit too involved, as I'm sure we all have. But nah, she loves it, and Dad as well. You know, Dad's pretty avid Essendon. So when I'm bringing home these awesome players' jumpers, he's like, "Fuck you, mate! Like, what do you like?" Honestly, you're trying to antagonise me or something. But no, he loves it now. They didn't at the start, obviously, as mentioned, but they're pretty wrapped with it. They like it.
Yeah.
So that's what matters.
Does he have any jumpers himself?
No, he doesn't. No, but I was feeling generous one day, and I just gave him one of my shitty retails with the number 6 on the back. So he was pretty wrapped with that. But that's probably all he'll be getting from me, because I'm keeping hold of those babies in there.
Yeah, that's fair. I find it very hard to give up any of mine, so I get it. I'm going to try something here. I've never done this before. I'm going to try and share my screen so you can see something. I want to ask you a question about it.
Okay, all right.
Let's see if it works, because I've never done it. But... All right, can you?
Oh, here we go.
You can see it.
Happening. Oh, yep.
Okay, tell me the story about these Bombers jumper. What we're showing right now is a Essendon Bombers jumper, number 20, player issue with GPS pocket. Now I'll get to the GPS in a second. Under Armour jumper. Now I just want to know what's the go with it, because it's freaking me out a little bit. I can see the grey outline around the numbers and the GPS pocket. I know in 2020 they had the trainers that look similar to that. Never saw a player's jumper. What's the go?
It's not too good to the eye, isn't it?
It's not amazing, but it's different. I do like different.
Yeah, well, I like different too. That's just a bit too different for my liking. But so these ones here, I'm glad you mentioned this. So when I was at the club, it would have been in 2019 doing my community stuff. Mm-hmm. There were a bunch of jumpers sitting on the table next to me, or not quite next to me, you know, around my vicinity.
Within eyeshot.
Yep, just started my collection. I've got 10 jumpers. I'm thinking, how good's this? I love footy jumpers now. So I've picked a few of them up, and all of them had that little grey outline on the GPS. And then I looked at the front of it, and the front of it you'll see Under Armour. So obviously in 2019 we were with ISC. So Under Armour, what are you doing here? Yep, there you go, Under Armour. And so they're all samples. It's pretty obvious to see they're all samples.
Right.
And the way to sort of pick them out, I suppose, is the tag is much different. It's got a little white sort of Thailandy tag on it, and that GPS outline is just horrendous. So that was, they sort of, Under Armour brought the jumpers to the club to sort of say, Essendon, what do you reckon? I don't think they did a very good job. I don't know how Essendon got tided over by them, but you know, so we had a 6-year contract with ISC, so I'm pretty surprised how it all went down. But obviously they like something about it, and the rest is history with ISC. I mean, we're the Under Armour now.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting. So I'm very glad they didn't do that either, because it looks a bit weird. Now, the number outline, I actually don't mind. Is that something you guys did in the past? Had a grey outline around numbers?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. None of my jumpers have got it. But I'm not completely against it.
Yeah, it's not too bad. The GPS outline, that just looks weird. It just, I don't know. I don't get it. But yeah.
That's
anyway. Let's move off that. I'm glad that you finally let me know that it's a prototype. I thought it was, but I wasn't too sure. And yeah, interesting. Very interesting.
That's a prototype.
All right, so I don't know how many people listening have seen or is part of the Football Guernsey Lotto page.
Yes.
Now, you've run a number of fantastic lottos over the last 12 months or so. What was your motivation to do so? And tell us how much you've raised and who you've donated to, and why'd you do it?
Yeah, so the Football Guernsey Lotto page, there's a lot of ups and downs in that little page there, but I took it upon myself to just sort of get a few of my jumpers together at first, some of my, non-Essendon jumpers, I suppose, and just sort of do a charity lotto. So got about 4 jumpers together, and massive shout out to this bloke. I've got to mention him because he'd be absolutely furious if I didn't. Reece Mitchell. Every single time I have done a charity lotto, it's been through a trade with Reece Mitchell. So I've gotten some of my Don's jumpers to try to get a bit of variation in there, and I've traded a bit with him. And yeah, so I traded an Essendon jumper for one of his non-Essendons and put them into the charity lotto. So
very nice.
Very big shout out to him. And Yeah, he's a good bloke. So pretty much I've done 4 of them, or maybe 5. I think I've done 5. So the most recent would have ticked off 5.
Yep.
And I've donated to Challenge, which is kids with cancer. I've donated to diabetes. I've done mental health. And the most recent one was child poverty.
Yep.
So just sharing the love, I suppose. But I've raised in total. So in total, it's been about 1,050, I think, on the dot.
Nice.
Just all around for those guys. So, and it's, I did set it up, but it's those blokes that obviously buy tickets and take part in it too that getting the money out there. So it's a good team effort, and it's a little good initiative that I highly encourage other people to do as well, because it's just good fun.
Yeah, no, well, hats off to you, man. It's a real good effort, and you've done a great job. And no doubt those corporations and that all people you donate to really appreciate it too. So well done.
Thank you.
So, how many jumpers do you have in your collection now? Let's just stick with Essendon. I don't know how many you have non-Essendon, but how many jumpers do you have of Bombers?
Whip the notes out. So I've got Essendon jumpers. I've got 103 Essendon jumpers.
Nice.
At the moment. So the collection's up to 103. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about your other teams?
So other teams, I've got Adelaide, Freo, Gold Coast, Port, 2 Saints and a Swans jumper. So I've got 7 other non-Essendon jumpers.
Right. Are you trying to collect just one from other teams, or is there any particular thought process on that one?
Well, it depends what day you ask me, really, because in a few weeks' time I'll probably change my mind and decide, no, I've got to stop spending my money on other teams. But at the moment, I'm sort of trying on a little side gig to collect like a promotional jumper from each team.
Mm-hmm.
The little side jumper, whether it be Indigenous or Anzac or anything like that. Just a nice little thing to look at, something good to have, one from each other team, and then just sort of have me Don's hustle as well.
Yep.
But,
your Freo one is a foundation, Matty De Boer, yeah?
It is, yeah. No, Freo, yeah, you're a big fan of that, I've heard. But no, it's very underrated. I thought it was a steal getting it for $100 or something like that, and I just thought you'd be silly to.
Yeah, I think we've spoken about that particular design a few times actually. I think it was 2017 that jumper from memory.
2016.
2016.
Oh, mate. What are
Sorry.
you doing?
Oh, yeah, I'm losing my mind here. We must have done something in 2017. But anyway, 2016. So the foundation jumpers. It was actually it was a couple of weeks before my mate passed away, so I should have remembered. So the whole reason that it was really interesting was the fact that these jumpers just disappeared after the auction. So they had an auction for them for the match worns. Never saw them again. Never come in a sale. I've never seen anyone have a player issue or anything. So it was quite weird that they just disappeared. So 2020 comes along, 2020 sale, and there's a whole stack of these foundation jumpers just sitting in a pile for $25 each. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
You're joking, are you?
People were picking up, looking, and just going, no, and just putting them back down again. And that's when we looked over and were like, hang on, what are these? And we just ran over and looked at all these jumpers just piled up. All of them were foundation jumpers, and there were heaps. And there were great players in there. $25 a pop. I only managed to grab 3 or 4, but wish I grabbed more.
Mate, that's robbery. That's just robbery.
Unbelievable. Great jumpers. But, amazing what you can get at these sales.
Yeah, definitely.
Has Bombers ever had more than just that one sale, or is that all they've ever done, do you know?
Honestly, because I only started collecting in 2019, I don't really have much knowledge. I know they've done a few in the past. Like, I do know. Like, even in 2004, they were selling the old ones down in Windy Hill.
Yeah, okay.
And I think 2014 we may have done one as well, because we sold some retail, the name jumpers, those name jumpers that the AFL did. So we sold some of them, and it could have been end of year, but I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. Pretty slack for me. I'll have to find out.
So you've just mentioned something that I did actually forget to write in my notes, but your thoughts on these name jumper authentic player cut jumpers. Now, would you consider them a player issue? Would you consider them just an authentic player cut? What would you, if you're selling it, probably have a couple of times already, but if you're selling one, what would you identify it as?
Yeah, so I'd officially identify it as a player edition.
Yep.
Honestly, because it wasn't issued to the player, which I think is probably a fair shout. Like, it wasn't issued to them; they weren't supposed to wear it. But it's got the GPS. It's sort of like slim, like a player cut. So you could probably say you get away with a player cut. But I'd say player edition. I think they were actually even sold as player edition Guernseys, to be honest, in the advert. But my go-to would be a player edition for those name ones.
Have you got a real one or a player issue one?
No, I don't.
Have you ever had one or seen one in hand?
I've seen bloody Matt. I'll tell you what, Matt has got a Zach Merritt number 27 one, I think.
Yeah.
Which is just insane. Like I don't know where he's plucked that from. I have had two in the past, but they were both retails. So I had a Watson, and it broke my heart when I looked at the tag and it said size small.
Yeah,
it just wouldn't fit him.
Yep.
And a Brendan Goddard was an XL, and I think he's a size large. So I've just sort of got them and flicked them off pretty quickly because they were both just the retail versions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The question I'm asking is if you had one player size. So what you're saying is, like for instance, the Goddard, he wore a large. If you had a large version of that, would that pretty much be exactly the same as a player issue? Just it wasn't issued to him.
Gee, well,
because I think the Crows, when they did theirs in 2014, 13, 14, I think both seasons even, they were identical. So if you had the same size that the player wore, there was just no way of telling.
Okay. Well, all I can suggest is probably just, if I could one day, which is probably not going to happen, but you get two and put them side by side.
Yeah.
And that would probably tell the story. If I were to get one that was the same size, I'd probably knock it off as that, to be honest. I'd probably just say to myself it is, try to convince myself. But it's honestly a question that I'll probably never be able to answer until it happens.
Well, let's hope somebody out there has. Well, no, we know Matt's got one, so I would be quite interested to see if someone has a player issue, maybe even the player edition version as well, and if they can show us if there's any differences. That'd be fantastic to know. I actually do have a Brendan Goddard large on the way to me as well, so I'll be interested to see what it's like when it gets here. I've never actually had one, so I was like, screw it, I'm gonna grab one. So
there you go.
Glad to know that he was a large.
In a few weeks, maybe. We'll see how we go.
Anyway, moving away from that, do you have any rhyme or reason for the way that you collect? We usually have, a goal, whether it be large or small. And from what I've seen, your collection is mostly pretty much newer jumpers. Is that the style that you prefer, or is it just harder getting the older jumpers and you're just doing what you can for now?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mix of all that you just said. So I honestly do love the modern ones. So my main goal at the moment, I've got like a little spreadsheet that I'm sure some people may or may not have seen. And it's to get every jumper, every Essendon style jumper from 2009 onwards. And honestly, there's no real specific reason for 2009, except that's pretty much when we started using GPS pockets. So that's basically it. 2008, no GPS. 2009, bang, you've got me.
Makes sense. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. What I do like about those previous to that, though, is the Bombers logo. It's watermarked into the jumpers. I really like those in the player issues.
Yeah, those are the Puma ones. I've got a few of those, and it's pretty good to look at, actually. I reckon the only pre-2009 jumper I don't have is 2005.
Yeah.
So even though it's not my aim to collect them all, I've got them all anyway. So, yeah.
All right. So you guys have had some fantastic players coming through your club. The list is huge. I'm not going to go through the whole lot, but do you have one particular player that you like to collect more than others, or is it just I'll just take whoever? Obviously, the better one comes up, great, but I have a feeling there's one player that you love to collect, and I think you're devastated to say it, I reckon.
It's I'm tearing up a little bit as I speak to you, because I really don't even want his name to be spoken in my head. But I can't. He's still my favourite player, and he probably, honestly, until I'm growing old, will always be my favourite player in the AFL, and it's Joe Danaher. So I'm going to be collecting his jumpers until he retires, honestly, whether it's Essendon or Brisbane. But I've got 6 of his jumpers at the moment.
Nice.
Which is probably not as much as I'd like, but we'll keep looking around and see how we go. So I've got I do have 6 Joes, but I've also got 5 Tip and Woody jumpers.
Nice.
So he's sort of, my side one. And then I've got 4 Zaharakis, I think.
Very nice.
Which I'm probably going to be getting rid of because I'm not a big fan of him at the moment. But that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, interesting. I was going to say, what were your thoughts on that, but that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, I can make them clear.
Well, we're 38 minutes in, and we've already lost half of the Bombers audience because of what you've just said, but that's all good. We'll continue on.
We'll continue.
What's the oldest jumper you have in your collection?
So the oldest jumper I've got is a 1998 match-worn Joe Mercedes.
Nice.
Big Smoking Joe. So I'd like to collect older, but unfortunately, as mentioned many times in this podcast, it's just too hard to tell what's legit and what's not with those old woolen ones. But Doug, if there's anything out there, Woolen Essendon, Dougie's probably got it. So I'm probably not going to try to steal them off him.
Those 98 jumpers, were they Puma?
They were Reebok.
Reebok. They were the satiny material, were they?
Yeah, they were sublimated and they were pretty ugly to look at. But I like the Reebok logo. It's a bit lower down, and I don't know. Just personally, I like it. I do like it.
Yeah.
But I think like just the general look of the jumper itself.
Yeah.
Is just a bit off, but everything else is pretty nice.
I actually really like the visual on TV. No, it's really interesting when you look at a jumper on TV where it just looks like crisp, beautiful colours, very vibrant, they pop, and then you get it in hand, you're like, well, this doesn't look anything like what I saw on TV. What's going on? That particular jumper, I feel like, is one of them, because in 98, you're running around with these shiny material jumpers and they just shine on the field. It looks great on TV. So, yeah, I'm interested that you say that, actually, that you didn't like the jumper at all.
Yeah, no, I did like it. I'm a fan, but it just wasn't as good as I thought it would be, to be perfectly honest.
Fair enough. Okay. So 103 jumpers, or 103 Bombers jumpers. Where do you store them? They can't surely just be put away in boxes, right?
No. So I basically live in a little unit out the back of my girlfriend's house. Trust me, it's part of the story. Don't worry.
Yeah, okay.
So we've been out here for about 2 weeks, and before that, I was living inside the house, and my Guernseys were at my own residence, so not actually with me, which just broke my heart, to be honest. I just like to look at them and just touch them, but I couldn't. So now we're out here. And pretty much behind me, you can see that little white door.
Yep.
That's the bathroom. And it's got a little walk-in wardrobe next to it. So I've got mine smack bang in the front, and then all the rest of the missos clothes behind them. But that's where all my jumpers are. So I can walk in, look at them, play with them, hold them up, and I'm pretty wrapped about that now.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, did that little unit get built for you to get you out of the Mrs. Parent's house, or was it there already?
Nah, so pretty much the misso's dad goes for Collingwood, and he had he had a little man cave, and there was a few Collingwood stuff here and there, Collingwood dartboard, and I pretty much have just migrated my Essendon stuff in, so he's not too happy about it, but that's where they are, that's where they're staying, so.
Fair enough, mate, fair enough. All right, so Heath, I've got a question for you. Very recently, within the last week, actually, me and you, we had a bit of a fight-off. It was never planned, fight-off, but I actually found out within 30 minutes of this auction ending about these jumpers that were up. I'd never heard of 32 auctions before, so I didn't know what was going on, but luckily a message was sent to me that there was something I'd be very interested in. I jumped on there as quick as I possibly could, set up an account, which took me bloody 15 minutes, so I almost ruined it by having to sign up for it. And then I jump on there and I have a bid. Well, I have a cheeky look at who's bidding. And the two top bidders that were fighting off with each other were one Reece Mitchell and one Heath O'Donovan. And I thought, oh, here we go, these cheeky fellas. So I jumped in and chucked in a bid, and next minute, everyone's buggered off. So tell me about it, Heath. What was the go there?
Yeah, so it was pretty much, I saw these two jumpers. There was the Victoria All-Stars Patrick Dangerfield.
Yep.
I mean, no, not All-Stars, just a Victoria Patrick Dangerfield and an All-Stars Nat Fyfe. And I've sort of said to myself, I've got to get one of these. Like, I've seriously got to get one of these. Like, this is my best opportunity to get one of these. So I dug deep, had a go. and just tried to get one, at least one. And there's about 15 minutes left, and I've looked at who's bidding on the fife, and it said Monday, yada yada yada, and I've thought, fuck me, I'm giving up. Like, I'm seriously giving up. Like, there's just not a chance. So I thought, all right, danger, here we go. We'll go for the Dangerfield. Let Aaron have his Nat Fife. And then I tried to place a bid with about 3 seconds left. It would have been about $1,000, and I got pipped. It just didn't work. So,
oh, you're kidding? Yeah.
Well, that's all right. I'm sure. Actually, no, I'm not sure. There probably won't be many more of them coming out. So,
no,
Mister.
I do appreciate you backing off there. Luckily, if your highest bid was 1,000, then I would have beaten you. But I appreciate that.
I wasn't beating you regardless. So I'm pretty.
No, I do appreciate that. As soon as I put my bid up, everyone just kind of backed off, and I even got a couple of messages. One from Reese said that it's all yours, mate. So I appreciate that. It was a good fun. I enjoyed that actually. That last few minutes, it was a good laugh, especially that I knew that you were coming onto the show as well. So that was good. I was planning to have a chat with you about that. Yeah. So it's obviously going to be real hard to have anything like this. But do you have anything framed at all?
No. No.
Do you plan to?
No, don't plan to. Look, maybe one. I haven't put too much thought into that answer, but if there's one that I know I'm just going to keep, I might double side frame it.
Yep.
But hearing opinions in previous episodes as well, and I've just had to think, and I just don't like it. I love to just be able to pick it up and just look at it and turn it around and just like. You know what I mean? You can't really do that in a frame, unfortunately. You just there'll probably be a day where I change my mind and frame one of them just to have up, for the kids or something, or for people to come and have a look. But,
no, I 100% feel you on that one. I'm still not sold on framing something, but
not at all. No.
Now that I mention that, there was something that popped up this morning, and I've actually emailed them on eBay about it. Again, this is all new technology to me. I can actually share you my screen. I'm just going to try and find it real quick. As you do on podcasts, you just tell everyone to hold on for a moment while I find something.
Hang on. Just give me 1 sec and we'll get it going in a second. Get it up.
Oh, anyway, it's not going to happen because I don't know how to find anything on here because it's not on my phone. I know everything on my phone. I can find anything, no problems. But as soon as I go to my computer, I'm lost. That's anyway. So what it was, you've probably seen these type of things before. But so a guy's put up a frame that is personalised to each team. So he's got colours inside the frame, and he's got the team name at the top, and it's got a little hanger, so you can put your jumper in there, and the door opens, like the front glass just opens. You can open it up whenever you like. You can put the jumper on the hanger, however like, front or back, and you can change it over whenever you want. Now, I'm kind of thinking about it, but he had these only digital photos, so I was like, man, can you send me a photo when you've actually done it? Because it's a cool idea, because I've seen... Brett actually just showed me the other day where he's got the plain black ones where he's just putting jumpers in constantly, just randomly, just taking them out whenever he wants and swapping them over. Great idea. And then this guy's showing me these today. I was like, well, send me a photo as soon as you're done because there's a 301, there's bombers, there's the whole lot. I would love to look at something like that because stick on the wall behind me and I can change it over whenever I want. I can deal with that. I can't deal with just something I can't take out of the frame at all. So, because I probably would. I'd pay $350 for something that I would like to have framed, and then a few weeks later, I can't do this, and I'll pull it out. And complete waste. But I'm seriously considering it. Is that something you'd consider as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't have complete idea of what it looks like, so I'll have to have a look. But from what you've said, it sounds bloody awesome. As long as you said, you can sort of play with it and take it out and change them over, I think that'd probably tide me over.
If you give me 5 seconds, I'm definitely cutting this bed out because...
Yeah, that's right.
Because I want to find this damn jump and these frames now because I've messaged this dude a couple of times. I'm like, this is a cool idea. So
is it on Facebook or eBay?
No, on eBay.
eBay.
Hang on, I'll go to my messages. I got a message from him this morning.
You know what? I've got it. I found it.
All right, beautiful.
I found it.
Oh, I'm looking at completed. So I can't look at my... That's it. That's the one. Yep.
The digital, yeah.
Yeah. So again, I'm trying to do things on my computer and I just can't work it out. I need the phone. It's the only way I can work things out nowadays. We're turning into a terrible generation. Anyway, he's now found the photo because I'm useless and I can't find it, but he's found it.
I've just found it, yeah. And I think it's definitely something you need to look in real person, like in real life.
Yeah.
The idea's there, but I'll have to.
Not sure about the name at the top. I don't know where that goes, whether it's on a piece of paper. I reckon that whole display is just a piece of paper and he types it on there or something. But if that was on the glass, that would be fantastic. Like etched into the glass, it'd look great. But yeah, something like that for me, I reckon it's a really cool idea that you can take it in and out whenever you like. So $290 as well. It's not bad at all.
Not bad.
Yeah, so we got way off track here, but I'm excited. So, but the overall thought is no, you can't frame. It's just too hard to decide, or you just want to keep taking them out anyway. So that the same thoughts process as me. So I don't blame you at all. Now you have a little bit of a leeway when it comes to this. Well, I think you do anyway. It'll be very interesting to find out whether you do or not.
I'm nervous.
Yeah. Do you prefer your jumpers signed or unsigned? And is there a way that you have an opportunity to get some signed, perhaps that other people don't have? I don't want you to share too much information, but do you have any sort of leeway of getting your stuff signed a bit easier than others? And do you prefer them signed or not?
Yeah. So far I haven't. I haven't really taken that advantage yet, but I don't mind them signed. Doesn't faze me too much. As long as I'm pretty sure it's the same with probably most people. As long as it's signed by just that player, and I really prefer it just nice and crisp along the number.
Yep.
But you find that these days, especially when you do win them in auctions, they sign it back and front. So, it is what it is, but I love having it signed along the number.
Picked up me Sam Switkowski Starlight jumper today, and he signed it on the front, on the bloody chevron.
What do you think about that?
Where it's signed?
Where it's signed.
Hate it. It just means that I'm going to have to go and get it re-signed. So
he hasn't signed on the number?
No, not at all. Nothing on the back.
What's he doing?
Only on the front. So I don't like that. And they've been doing that for all their auctions. So I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know why they don't give you an option of would you want it signed on the front, back, or just sign it on the damn number. Because I would choose number every time, because I just don't understand why they sign it on the front. I get it. Like for that particular design, I get it. People, if they're going to frame it, they'll probably frame it front out. So I understand that. It takes a friggin'... His signature is a child signature.
What's he just done, a little scribble?
It's just a squig. So it'll take him about 35 seconds. No, it will take him less than that. It'll take him about 3 seconds to just quickly shove it on the back. So there's no real reason why they can't just do front and back. I don't understand. It's a little rant from me here, but again, I'll have to go out and get him to sign it. But the problem is, being that it's COVID issues at the moment, where it's super hard to get out there and get people to sign it. It's much harder than it was anyway a couple of years ago. It may not happen for a while. So for me, I do prefer them unsigned. But at the moment, if they're going to sign them, I'd just like them to sign on the damn number.
Yeah, that's it. Me too. Not too stressed whether it's signed or not. Like most of my jumpers aren't signed at all. So I'll probably keep it that way. But there's probably a few, like, I don't know, maybe some of the not so not so amazing players. Like I have a Braden Ham, for instance. Like he's okay, but at the moment he's nothing he's nothing special. He's in and out of the 22. I'll probably just get him to sign it on the number. Something good. If I were to sell it, it'd probably boost it a tiny bit. I'm not sure. But with those high profile players, like I've got a Cale Hooker, Ken Fraser. If that gets signed and he doesn't do it and I don't end up liking it, that's my jumper, and it's just ruined the experience of looking at it for me. Yeah. But that's just my thoughts on it.
Same thought actually on that, because Sean Darcy, upcoming ruckman, very much in the talks of AA this year, All Australian.
Yes.
I took his Indigenous jumper, his purple Indigenous from this year, to him the other week to get him to sign on it. Problem is, he's still pretty much an overgrown child. He signed it the worst way you can ever sign something. His scribble is a 3-year-old child. He's a nice guy. He's a really nice bloke. But my God, he cannot sign an autograph to save his life. So you're absolutely right. I probably should have thought about it and had a look at some of his recent signatures and thought better of it. Because now I feel like that jumper just looks hideous because of the signature on it. It looks disgusting. It's tiny and it just doesn't look like anything. So, yeah, you're right. It's a hard one a little bit.
Just need to take it back to him and say, mate, what are you doing? Pull your head in. Just ruin my jumper. Oh, well, that's all right. That's it.
All right. Yeah. So you guys have had a ton. Well, I wouldn't say a ton. We've had a fair few manufacturers in the last 20 years, or 30 years even.
Yep.
Seacom, Puma, Adidas, IC, Under Armour. Am I missing any? Yeah, Reebok. Who'd you say would be your favourite manufacturer at all that?
Yeah, good question. So ISC would probably be tip top. I just think, they came in 2017 and their first jumper. We had the straight sash for years and years and years, and people were a bit iffy on it. And then 2017, they came out with this first release image of just this beautiful angled sash. I don't know how to explain it. What do you call that, Aaron? What do you call it? Curved. That's spot on, mate. Good. Curved sash. It looks beautiful, and they just had me ever since. Like they were just awesome to look at. The material's just gotten. I wouldn't say it's gotten better. I liked the shiny material in 2013, but Essendon being with IC was just really good. Just really good to look at.
Yeah, it's really funny actually. The people that don't or haven't had IC as a manufacturer, they hate it.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it tears too easy or whatever. Who cares? Like, it looks great and feels great.
It looks good. It looks good. That's all that matters, mate.
And I've got a ton of ripped jumpers that I'm happy with. So, yeah.
Exactly.
It'll tell a story.
There you go.
What is the most unique jumper you have in your collection?
Yeah. So, most unique, I've probably got two. So, the first one's the hooker Ken Fraser. I don't think there was a few of them around at one stage, but they were sort of not great players. There's a few longies, but yeah. So I've got my KO hooker Ken Fraser's probably up there.
When's that from?
2018.
Is that like wash material? Is it like a, what do you call it?
It's the exact same material.
Yeah.
But it just has a different pattern. They had this really vintage old, just mimicking I think it was 1910 or something.
Yeah.
Or whenever Ken Fraser played, I'm not too sure. But just it was just mimicking that sort of look.
Yeah.
But the material is the exact same. It's got a beautiful collar on it as well.
Yeah, nice. Good looking jumper.
And then the other one that I've got, which is just my most unique and is pretty close to the top, is my Dustin Fletcher International Rules player issue.
Yep.
From 2006. So he actually he was actually the goalkeeper. So he donned the orange top with the number 1. I've got his number 31 if he was starting on the ground, like in his position in the midfield or something.
Oh, right.
I'm pretty wrapped with that one. He signed it for me.
Yeah, very interesting.
On the front. But
on the front.
So I might have to go back and give him a bit of a spray for that one, but it's okay. He actually signed in front of me, and he says, "Do you want me to sign it?" Because I got it off him. He goes, "Do you want me to sign it?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great." Grabs it, signs it on the front before I could say anything, and mate, I was seeing red. Like, you're about to see on the newspaper, crazed fan hits footballer.
It's icon.
It's just, it's his biggest fan, mate. It was just, that's okay. No, look, it still looks good, but
So you actually purchased that off him?
Yeah, I got it off him. So there's a bloke in the Facebook group who links with players.
Scott Harrison.
Scott Harrison, Scotty, that bloke.
Shout out to Scott.
Shout out to Scott. He's watching. He just sort of linked me up with Fletch, and I met up with him. And that was it. We chatted about the club, chatted about work, because he was going to start working at the club before COVID.
Yeah, okay.
And, bought that off him, and that was awesome.
Yeah, very cool, very cool.
Yep.
Is there any other ways that you've picked up jumpers that are maybe a bit unique, or you've gone about them all the pretty traditional way?
Yeah, no, I've got a story.
Oh, here we go.
Hopefully it doesn't rage on like all my other ones. But back in the 2019 days that I've touched on before, me and my good friend Michael would have been September, October, after the season's finished. Our boss asked if we could take a stock take. So I was just starting to get into collecting. I was like, okay, like I've got a few jumpers. I'm liking this. And I've got down to the bottom floor where we're supposed to do the stock take, and there is just hundreds of player issue Essendon jumpers.
Oh, good Lord.
And I'm like probably 200 in a massive laundry bin.
I think you need to have a think about this before you tell the story. It sounds like you're about to lose your job. I know what I would have been doing.
No, don't be silly. So, so we were doing stock take. We had to count up all the jumpers that were there because they were going to get shipped off somewhere. And they basically wanted to know what they were having. And Michael and I, being the little immature kids we were, we wanted a souvenir to take home with us of our amazing time at the Essendon Footy Club. Mm-hmm. And, there were a lot there, so it was all in good fun. But we took one or two home, and that's the way that I've been able to pick up one or two nice jumpers.
That's awesome.
And Michael still got his too. Like, we're both going to keep them, just reminisce on the times that we got to stock take for the Essendon Footy Club.
Yeah.
It's just,
it sounds wicked. Yeah, absolute wet dream as well, seeing all that old reckon.
Yeah, mate. It was incredible. It was awesome.
What do you value collection at the moment?
So I did actually count this a few weeks ago, but I've had a few inclusions since. So roughly selling, if I were to sell it off for bare minimum, so I've got a Jimmy Herd in there, but I could probably get to 4 figures for that, but I've gone a bit down. It's worth around 22, 23 grand.
Yeah, nice.
So, respectable. Mum doesn't like that. She thinks I could get a house loan with it, but that's okay.
All mothers do.
Exactly.
Wow. So hang on, you've already mentioned, and I don't know how I've missed this previously, but you've got a Jimmy Herd. What is it?
Oh, yes. I do. Sorry, what was that? What did you ask?
What is it? What Jimmy Herd is it?
Oh, yeah. So I can't say if it was match worn or not. A bit of wear and tear on it, and it's got a tiny little grass stain on the 3 logo, but it's a James Herd 2004
Very
player
nice.
issue, which was the year that he kicked that goal against West Coast, the winner, and hugged someone in the crowd. So if it turns out, no way for me to prove it, unfortunately, but it is from 2004.
Yep.
So, it's just an incredible jumper to have.
Short sleeve or long sleeve?
Short sleeve.
Yep.
I'll be trying to get a long sleeve. Don't know how much luck I'll have, but that will definitely be on the agenda for a while.
I've had a couple of long sleeves.
long sleeve Herdies.
I've had a couple, 2 or 3, yeah.
2 or 3, he says.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So, do you collect anything other than footy jumpers? Or have you ever?
Have I ever? So 2017-18 Big Bash season.
Nice.
So the Big Bash cricket.
Yep.
Big Renegades fan. Love me Renegades. We got me and my friend actually got passes to go into the rooms after the semi-final, which was an awesome experience. Got to see all the players. And Kane Richardson gave me his long sleeve top. People may or may not have seen it, but it was his long sleeve. I'm not sure if it was match worn, but it was just, player issue long sleeve, had his number, his name on the back, signed it for me. And I was, how good's this? It's awesome.
Yeah.
And I walked past Brad Hogg about 30 seconds later, said, how you going? And he asked, do you want me to sign that for you? And so he signed it.
Oh, no.
I didn't want to say no because I didn't want to, it's Brad Hogg, like he's a legend. He's going, do you want me to sign that for you? And I was thinking, mate, get away from me. I've got Kane Richardson's here. Like,
the worst part is Brad Hogg's signature is huge.
And he's done it smack bang on the front. On the front, in between the Big Bash and the sponsor.
Oh, no.
So now, when I was advertising it, as a Kane Richardson player issue signed by Brad Hogg. Like, why? And people, like, why have you got it signed by Brad Hogg? What are you doing? But it's all right. Hoggy was happy. I wasn't, but he's what it is.
He's always a happy man. He's always happy to sign things, but unfortunately,
he had a massive smile on his face. That's why, like, you can't say no to a man like that who's just got a smile and he's just ecstatic. He's like, "Oh, you want me to sign it for you?" If I said no, it's just,
How do you just get given Kane Richardson's shirt? Did you ask for it, or did he just come up and offer it to you, or what was the go?
I said, well, me and my friend are opportunists, so we thought you can't get given if you don't ask.
Yep.
So he said, "Hey mate, is there anything that it was a long time ago, so I can't remember the specifics, but we basically said, hey mate, is there anything that you're getting rid of? Because we'd love to have something." And I got the jumper, he got the shorts. So I got his jumper, and my mate's been given his training shorts. So it was a bit of a variation there, and he wasn't happy, but
Yeah, I can imagine.
yeah, that's okay.
Anything else you collect as well, or is that it? Is that all you've got?
No, that's about it, really.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Just
Nothing
focus on
else.
footy.
I've got a pair of boots.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not really passionately collecting them.
No.
So, and they're obviously Joe Danaher's boots. So they'll be staying there.
Fair enough. We're winding it down now, man. So I've got 2 more questions for you.
No problem.
What's the number 1 jumper in your collection? I'm very sorry. Everyone hates this question.
No, don't be silly. So I've got 2. There's
most people say that.
Yeah. So my favourite sort of outright, I suppose, I'll give the easy answer. It's my Chris Heffernan match-worn grand final jumper from 2000.
Nice.
So, yeah, beautiful jumper. I'm wrapped to have it. But as far as the most satisfying jumper that I've got, as in like it took me a long time to get, a lot of chasing down, is probably my Joe Watson Country Round 2017 match-worn jumper.
Yeah, right.
It's the one with the wheat husk on it. So,
yep.
Yeah, Joby signed that on the front too, so I have to have a chat with him. But that jumper's just priceless, mate. Like I've seen 2 of them, and I've owned both of them at one stage.
Yep.
So one was a Hartley, which I sold to another Essendon bloke named Paul, who was really, really keen on having one. So I sold it to him. I used the money from that to buy the Watson. So that one's tip top, I reckon. There's not much that beats that.
Yeah, very nice. Well, if there is something that can beat it, what is the one jumper that you don't have yet and you'd like to get your hands on? Anything?
Oh. Yeah, so I wouldn't say I'd beat it unless it was Joe Watson's, but one jumper that it just keeps running away from me and I can't find it for the life of me is the 2017 Indigenous jumper.
Yeah, right.
It's just completely red. It was the first red Indigenous jumper we wore, but I just can't find them. I don't know where it is.
Interesting.
I just can't find it. So if someone's got that for me, shoot us a message because I'll give you some cash. But
yeah.
That's the one. That's the cat in the hat that I can't seem to find.
Crazy. So there you go. So surely there's somebody out there who's got one or 2 even. 2 if you haven't would be fantastic. So you can give one up to Heath. Let us know. Yeah. Send either Heath a message or myself a message here at the Player Issue Podcast, and we'll get on to Heath. But one more time, Heath, let everyone know where they can find you and where they can message you about finding that jumper.
Yep. So Instagram at the Hangar Collection and Facebook Essendon Football Club PI/matchworn collection.
Beautiful.
I think. It's a funny long one.
Beautiful, mate. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today. Stoked to finally get you on.
Thanks, mate. Thank you very much.
Just wonderful spending time with you. So, yeah, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Speak soon.
Beautiful, mate. Much. Take it easy. Cheers.
Bye.
All right, there we have it. Thank you very much, Heath, for coming on. Loved hearing all your stories. They were fantastic, and I just thoroughly enjoyed having you on. If you guys would like to be on the show in future episodes, any future episodes, mind you, because we have no guests lined up at this particular time. We obviously have some future guests that we will have on the show at some point, but we don't have any of the next few episodes lined up to be interviewed as yet. So if you'd like to be on the show, please let me know. Send me a message here at the Player Issue Podcast Facebook page or Instagram as well. And we'll get you on the show. We'll have an interview together and get to know each other a little bit and tell your stories to the world. I do say world because I do look at my stats every now and then, and I do see that there are quite a lot of people, not just in Australia, who listen to the show. So I'm going to give a quick shout out to a few of those countries listening from around the world. And thank you. Thank you for wherever you are to listening to the show because I appreciate it. I did get a monetization payment from Spreaker. So the very first payment that I've ever received for doing the show, I got $17. And so 2 years I've been doing the show for, and I got paid $17. It's the first time I've ever been paid. So, yeah, the more people that listen, obviously, the better it is. But it is a tough tough market for sure. Advertising's where it's at, but I don't have any. So if you want to listen to the show, I really appreciate it because it does pay me 10 cents. So I'm rich. No, just kidding. I absolutely love you people listening to it and thoroughly enjoy hearing all the feedback. And I really, really do enjoy getting all the content out there for you. If you would like to donate to the show, I have actually created a page or a link, a donation link, I guess, on the Facebook page. So if you go to the Player Issue Podcast Facebook, you'll see it pinned to the top. And it's called Buying Me a Coffee. So it's KOFI. I have had a couple of coffees bought for me. Both have been bought for me by Reese Mitchell. Reese has been a long-time listener ever since the start, and he's been along for the ride the whole time. He's an absolute champ. Obviously, he had also talked about him a little bit in his interview. So he's had it pretty tough over the last couple of years, but he's a tough mother, so he's an absolute champ. We really appreciate his support. And again, thank you, Reese. We love you, and thank you very much. And continue listening to the show, mate, because no doubt we'll get you on here for an episode one day. And it'll probably break the internet, as you've told me many times. So I look forward to that. Don't you worry. So big shout out to those countries around the world. United States, we have 27 listeners over there. Thank you to everybody in the United States. United Kingdom as well. We've got 12 listeners over there. India, we've got 7. India, it's a great place to be listening from. Russia, we've even got 4. Canada, 3. Mexico, 2. New Zealand, Thailand, Brazil, Sweden, and Pakistan. We've all got listeners from as well. So shout out to all you over there. If you'd like to jump on the Player Issue Podcast Facebook page, just let us know where you're listening from. We'd love to hear from you because obviously a lot of us here in Australia. We have over 3,000 listeners in Australia in the last month. So, yeah, it's great to hear from anybody who around the world listens to the show because we'd love to hear your thoughts on our great game. Why wouldn't we? All right, let's go through what we've seen on eBay recently. Unfortunately, I did just have a listen back to the last episode, and I realised I didn't mention any of it in the last episode, so there's a lot to cover. So I'm going to do the usual. I'm going to skip through to some of the better stuff, because otherwise we'll be here all night. There's been heaps. Like, it is not slowing down. I can see that much. It is not about to slow down at all, so if you're a new collector, you're not going to have too much trouble getting a hold of a jumper. So, yeah, it's crazy out there. Let's go through a few right now. Adam Chera, Player Issue, worn training jumper, $100. Andrew Swallow, North Melbourne jumper, went for $162. We got Jared Brander, Player Issue, West Coast Eagles Indigenous jumper, went for $350. Jaeger O'Meara, or Jaeger O'Meara, however you want to say it. I'm going to say Jaeger because it's a terrible drink. Jaeger O'Meara, 2020 Indigenous Hawks jumper, went for $345. This one I was going to bid on as well, and it's a great jumper. I almost really wish I did, but I'm thinking Nathan Geeson got this one. I hope he did. Wayne Schwash, number 2, Player Issue. It looks like a 98 or a 99. Could be 97. Anyway, went for $249.95, and it's signed by Swatter on the front as well. So great jumper there. There was a Fitzroy Lions. Now, I want to say Player Issue, but then there's been a bit of conjectures about it. So I've seen it actually come up on the Facebook pages. I can't remember which one it was now, but I've seen it posted that they picked it up and they were stoked about it and all happy. And then a few people pointed out that the numbers on the back are definitely not correct. So, yeah, it's a bit of a painful one because this one went for $631. And I believe it's supposedly around the 91 to 93 era of Fitzroy jumpers, number 47. And they put $631 for it, but not actually sure it was actually a Player Issue. So hopefully you're not the one that spent so much money on it. Bridie Kennedy, 2018 Pride Match-Worn AFLW Carlton jumper, $117.50. I actually saw this one pop up 3 times. Didn't sell for a couple of times, which is interesting. Less than that as well. Stephen Hill, Player Issue, 2020 jumper, $132. A Kangaroos Bounding Rouge jumper from 98 or 99. Can't really tell you at the moment, but one of those two went for $367. It was a number 9. Anthony McDonald, Tip and Woody. Fantastic name. Great gentleman. He just seems like an absolute legend. Who wouldn't want to have a beer with him? His Player Issue Clash with Cancer Under Armour jumper. I'm not sure if it was 19 or 20. I think it was 2020 actually. It went for $735. Well done to the seller there, and obviously to the buyer as well. You're obviously pretty happy with that because who wouldn't be happy to own a Tip and Woody jumper? I am. I have one. 2005 Port Adelaide Byron Pickett long sleeve. cult hero, isn't he, really, Byron Pickett? And Port Adelaide jumpers continue to show great value. If you have some, then you'll be pretty happy to have them in your collection. This one went for $2,225. So if you've got a Byron jumper, a Port Adelaide one especially, pull it out. Obviously, the Fremantle Dockers mid-season sale was pretty recently. So there's been a few jumpers being chucked up from that sale. A lot of people seemingly going, picking up a few jumpers, chucking them on, making a few dollars from them. Good on them. That's, you can do that if you wish. It's not a problem. So there's a few Indigenous ones pop up. The first one is the Nathan O'Driscoll, so a rookie. Nathan O'Driscoll went for $160. I think it was actually by best offer. So it probably didn't get sold for that much, but still, it still would have gone somewhere around there. So good jumper, good pickup. A 2006 Brisbane Lions Heritage jumper, wicked jumper, absolutely beautiful. Nathan Lappin. I missed the end of this auction, and I'm devastated that I did because it went for $200.50. That is an absolute bargain. Lappin was an absolute legend of the game. Tremendous to watch play footy, and this jumper itself is just beautiful. So whoever scored that, congratulations, because that's a beauty. Another Nathan O'Driscoll Fremantle Dockers jumper, a Clash Away, went for $120. A Hawks Clash, I think. Hawks Clash from 2015, 2016-ish. Went for $320, and I believe it was a Brian Lake as well. There's been a few Brian Lakes pop up recently as well, and they're going quite high value, so congratulations. Josh Franco, Port Adelaide jumper, went for $410. I believe it actually did get relisted as well. And I think it ended up going for $410 again. I'm not too sure, but anyway, someone's happy. Another Adam Chera, 2021 player issue training jumper, went for $189. Here comes that Bridie Kennedy 2018 Pride match-worn signed Carlton jumper as well, the AFLW one. Come up again this time, went for $161. So don't know what's happening there. Someone's not paying or someone's manipulating the bidding, as I've mentioned before, but hell, if it didn't and someone's just not paying, then the seller must be happy because they get an extra few dollars out of it. Joel Weston Freo Dockers jumper, 2021 Clash, went for $129.95. Showed a bit in his last game, Joel Weston, so he's going to be a good little player, I reckon. A little bit of a cult following already as well. Sam Switkowski Freo Dockers. So this is quite a few of the Freo jumpers from the mid-season sale going up, as you can tell. Sam Switkowski away went for $140. Kyle Hardigan's 2017 Grand Final match-worn boots from the Crows went for $197.50. Almost the margin. Collingwood's Reece Shaw went for $325. A Lockie Schultz 2021 Freo jumper went for $145. That was a home jumper. This one's an interesting one. Wayne Carey, 98 or 99. Again, I haven't done the research. I'm sorry. Terrible by me. But Wayne Carey jumper went for, originally, so I was bidding on this for a little while as well, but it originally went for $2,469. I say originally because I had a feeling this was going to happen. This is why I just don't bid on eBay when it gets too out of control. The seller, or the buyer, didn't pay. But the interesting thing about that is I know who it went to, so yeah, but I did find out within an hour or a couple of hours, the seller had already contacted the second chance offer and offered it to him for $2,000 because the buyer didn't pay. Now, how does anybody know that they're not going to pay for it within an hour or two after the auction on a bid? Like, people, if you're going to bid for a jumper, you're going to pay for it because that's you're just stuffing up the auctions, really. And but also, if you are out there and you are manipulating your own auctions, it's ridiculous. And I hope that people aren't screwing themselves over by paying too much money for these jumpers that their sellers are actually manipulating the auctions of. That's seemingly to me an hour or two after the jumper just gets sold and the buyer says that they're not paying for it. Honestly, that doesn't sound particularly above board to me. But anyway, the end-up owner of that jumper is pretty happy. So that's all that really matters in the end. So congratulations to the owner of that, Wayne Carey. I think they paid $2,000 for it. There was a Devon Smith GWS Canberra jumper, went for $128.50. St Kilda 98.97. Again, terrible research by me. Hot Cross Buns jumper, number 40, went for $405. Jordan DeGoey Collingwood Star Jumper. It's also signed as well. Went for $172. Another one I was bidding on, which is beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Signed all over the front. I believe it's a 98 Brisbane Lions jumper. Craig Lambert went for $355. Congratulations to the winner. Nigel Lappin, another one popped up from 08 or 09, I believe. Could be wrong. Went for $400. Well, again, best offer, so probably went less. But, still a beautiful jumper. I was nearly about to throw an offer on it, but missed out, sadly. Another Anthony McDonald Tip and Woody. This one was a 2017 long sleeve home. Went for $475. A Michael Walters 2017 signed player issue went for $157.50. A Jobe Watson's one of these player cut jumpers that we were talking about on the episode, actually. So Jobe Watson, round 5, 2014 name round jumper, went for $400. So that'll be interesting to see if that ever pops up, if anyone ever says that it's a player issue or a player cut or whatever. But I can guarantee it is not player issue because it's a 2XL. There's no way Jobe Watson wore a 2XL. So that's one of those ones that if you get one that's not in the same size as the player, then it's probably worth a lot less money than one that is the same size. And, just interesting what people's thoughts are on those jumpers as well. Another West Coast Eagles jumper. This one was a Nathan Vardy. Pretty recently is a 2018 Clash. Went for $224.50. Good value there for a West Coast jumper, I reckon. And the last two we've got, this one was bought by Aaron Warwick of the Player Issue podcast. Hayden Young, Freo Dockers 2021 Player Issue Indigenous jumper. It's absolutely beautiful jumper, and I was stoked to pick it up for $155.50, and it was the same day that he actually got his nomination for Rising Star. So, he's going to be an absolute gun of the future, so I'm stoked to pick that one up. And the last one is a 2020 West Coast Eagles Indigenous Player Issue jumper as well, number 32. He's still on the list as well. Big Ruckman, and it sold for $350. That is it for what I've seen sold recently. And as far as for what is available at the moment, there's not a huge amount of high-end quality stuff. Seem to find that most of it is just pretty much going immediately. As soon as it comes up, it's gone. So, you got to be quick nowadays. So jump on that as quick as you can. Now let's jump on to what I have purchased over the last, it's got to be a couple months now since I last mentioned it, I reckon. Okay, so full disclosure before we continue. It's actually been 24 hours since I recorded what you've just heard me talk about here on the close for this show. Reason for that is because as I mentioned that I was about to start talking about what I've picked up recently, I quickly had a look and thought, oh, geez, when did I last speak about what I picked up? And what did I speak about? I had a quick squizzy and I noticed that I didn't talk about anything that I picked up on the last episode. So the last thing I talked about was back in the Andy episode, in episode 25. And there wasn't very much that I'd picked up at that point. And that was exactly 3 months ago today. So there's been a lot happen in the last 3 months. And I know Andy in particular would like to hear about the Fremantle Dockers mid-season sale. I apologise. Yes, there's some more Fremantle Dockers content coming at you. But we did run a Fremantle Dockers mid-season sale, which was very interesting and something completely different. And a lot of people want to know as to why it happened and just everything that happened on the day. So first off, we'll start with why it happened. So as you know, the Fremantle Dockers went with Seacombe this year, so they've gone back to their roots, and they've kept it WA, kept it local, and have got Seacombe back on board. ISC no more, unfortunately, in the AFL. And so originally, the jumpers that they made up, the club weren't too happy with. So they did actually wear the jumpers for the first couple of scratch matches that they had, and also the trainers as well. They wore those a couple of times. I believe they wore the jumpers in the first couple of rounds of the season as well. If you have a look at the first couple of rounds of the scratch match photos, you'll notice the cut and the fit is very different and very weird. So the very first time I ever saw these jumpers, I thought, oh no, this is awful. Especially coming from ISC where they just cut and fit so nicely. Obviously, material was gorgeous on ISC. Not everyone agrees, but a lot of people do. But looking at these jumpers, the wide fit, they just did not fit the players at all. The armholes or the cuffs were just terrible. And the players didn't like them either. So I actually spoke to Luke Ryan about his jumpers, and he said he hated them. He absolutely hated them because they just didn't fit. They were uncomfortable. So, yeah, that was a little bit disappointing to hear. And then I hear that Nat Fyfe told our mate Craig Evans, to go and get him some new jumpers and do not come back to the club until he's got them. So poor old Craig had to make a mad dash down to the club, or down to Seacombe, and get them to make up some new Nat Fyfe Clash, I believe, player issue jumpers for round one. So he did actually have some new ones for round one. So I don't know if the rest of the team did, but Nat certainly did, because he did not want to wear those jumpers anymore. So yeah, so Craig had to go and get those jumpers and wasn't allowed back at the club until we had them. So it was an interesting little turnaround there. Obviously, fairly short turnaround, so they can be done. It's obviously very handy when the club's not that far away from where the jumper's being made, so real good. But yeah, so what would happen with those jumpers, obviously, is they didn't want to wear them anymore, so they had them redone, and a whole new set, or at least a couple of sets were redone. The trainers were redone as well. So all those jumpers went to a mid-season sale to get rid of them. And, well, obviously they had to, I guess, pay for all the jumpers that they had to reorder. But not just that. Well, I actually don't think they actually did have to pay for all the jumpers that they reordered, because they were on the contract, I would assume. But so what they wanted to do is they wanted to sell off all those jumpers, because there's obviously no reason to have them, give the fans something to get excited about mid-season, but also one of the main reasons is because they want to change up the women's jumpers. So they haven't had a new set since 2018. So 2017 they wore the core jumpers. They're wearing cotton on now, which is exactly the same manufacturer. However, it was monikered as core in 2017, and the numbers were heat pressed as well. Whereas 2018 and onwards they were all sublimated. I believe GPS pockets came in 2018 or potentially 19, not 100% on that one. But yeah, so they haven't had new jumpers for some time. They did have new jumpers this year where they had the sponsor, the rear sponsor. I think they heat pressed them on their jumpers this year. So they had to get a whole new set for next year. And not just that, so a bit of an exclusive for you. They will have a Pride jumper next year as well. So the Freo Dockers have got a new design, and apparently it looks fantastic for their Pride round next season. So they wanted to raise some cash for those new jumpers. So that's what they did. They chucked up this mid-season sale. Not a lot of people knew about it, but to be honest, we got there at about 10 to 7 or so, maybe a bit earlier. Obviously, a couple of hours before opening, there was already probably 4, maybe 5 people in line. So that's one thing that frustrates me, is I don't get there first, but that's my own fault. I don't get up early enough. We'll definitely be looking at doing that for the next one, for the end of season sale. But so this one was a bit different. It was in the room up right next to the Fremantle Dockers team store. So it was a little conference room. So it's quite small. So we could see everything that was going on in there, and we could tell that the room was rather small. So there obviously wasn't going to be a huge variation of what was going to be in there. But it was extremely exciting. We didn't really even know what was going to be there, to be perfectly honest. So we just basically had a bit of a run for it. And the funny thing is, as soon as that door opened, there was a few blokes at the start, they may be listening, absolutely sprinted straight for those middle racks. Now, I have a plan every single time I go to these things, and generally it's to go to the middle rack. However, as I walked in the door, one of the workers, also ex-West Coast and Fremantle player, Tony Godden, stopped me as I walked in the door and said, "Hey, mate, I hear that you're after a Gemma Houghton player issue women's jumper, and just so you know, for all your support for the club, I have one for you behind the desk, so make sure that you pick that up before you leave." So thank you very much to the Fremantle Dockers. I really appreciate that, and of course I will show my support constantly with picking up more jumpers, because I just can't help myself. But no, I really do appreciate the appreciation from you guys as well, so thank you for that. But it was really fun. These things always make me super anxious, and I'm not one for anxiety. I don't know if I have it or whatever, but I know a lot of people suffer from it. But I'm just, these sort of things, they really get to me. I can't sleep the night before. I try to come up plans, but as soon as the door opens, I lose all sense of what's going on, and my plan just goes out the window. I kind of just dawdled around for a little bit. Emma, a little bit the same. She had a plan as well. We both come up with a plan, and she went in and she just got overwhelmed with the amount of people. Again, being a small room and just people everywhere. So, it was very daunting. And I just went to the right and just picked up whatever I could. Luckily, there were some good jumpers there. I did pick up some Indigenous jumpers from this year, the home jumpers. And I just went and just grabbed whatever I could. So I got heaps of home and away 2021s. And then eventually I found my way to the AFLW rack. So they were selling off all the old AFLW jumpers, all the match-worn jumpers. So absolutely crazy. But it took me quite some time to actually get to that rack. So I would have thought the majority were gone. But crazy enough, I still managed to pick up some amazing jumpers, got some great players. So yeah, super stoked. And there was heaps of the AFLW jumpers left over at the end, which is just absolutely mental to think about. But so overall, it was just a great day. I had a great time. Most people were actually out very quickly. So we were actually playing the Pies that day. It was about an hour or two after the sale. So I think most people got in, got what they wanted and left pretty quickly. We stayed probably about an hour, which is probably about usual. We stay for an hour or two, depending on how it's going and how much money I have still left over. I didn't have anywhere near as much this time. I actually came under budget, believe it or not. So I took about 2,400 with me, and I think I spent 1,850. So yeah, crazy. It's the first time I've ever kind of under budget. I usually have to put stuff back, but I didn't put back anything this time. So pretty happy with myself. I still managed to pick up 23 jumpers on the day, so pretty stoked for that. So 23 jumpers for $1,800. I ain't complaining at all. So I had a great day. Again, I just thoroughly appreciate that the Fremantle Dockers do this for us fans. I hope you guys out there at other clubs are able to get the same enjoyment out of what we get to do over here. I think the Dockers do it really, really well. I'm not sure what's going on with Port Adelaide this year. Hopefully they get back to doing the sale at the store. We'll see what happens. But hopefully all you other guys out, all the other teams out there, I know Gold Coast did theirs last year. Hopefully all you other guys get to do something this year. Hopefully. I mean, COVID's obviously a bit of pain in the ass at the moment. So hopefully you guys will open up before the end of the season and the club can do something for you guys and everyone can get out there and enjoy these sort of days because it's a lot of fun. Like I say, it's pretty nervous, pretty nerve-wracking for myself especially. And I don't know how this year is going to go with the end of season sale for me because I have a feeling it may actually be the day after my wedding. So I might just have a little bit of a chat to the lads at Freo to just try not to let that happen. Maybe push it a little bit, let me get me wits about me and save some money. I do not want to rock up. Mind you, I will though. So if it comes to it, my wedding is on the Friday and Emma already knows. She knows that if we do end up having the sale on the Saturday morning following my wedding, we will be showing up to the sale. We've also made a pact that if it happens, I'll be showing up in my suit. She'll be showing up in her wedding dress. So that'll be an interesting day. But fingers crossed it doesn't happen and we're able to get along a couple of weeks later, have a little bit more money to spend because I'm not going to have anywhere near as much money as I did last year. Just hopefully I'll be able to pick up some great jumpers. Obviously I've got some good ones at the start or the mid-season, so I don't need too much. And I have picked up a couple in the auctions as well, so it won't be as crazy as usual, and I think I've said that every time I go in, but I can guarantee you this time it won't be because I haven't started saving a penny yet. It's all going to my wedding. So what did I pick up from the sale, you ask? We'll just quickly run through it. For the home jumpers, home 2021s, I picked up Brennan Cox, Michael Walters, Luke Valente, Josh Tracy, Michael Frederick, and Hayden Young, who's an absolute gun, as I mentioned previously. At the time, I picked up two Indigenous home jumpers. I picked up Brennan Cox and James Aish. And like I mentioned in the open, in the interview I did with Gillian Goss, I didn't mention the gentleman's name, and I'm annoyed that I didn't in that interview. I'm very sorry that I didn't. But Jack Gregory, an absolute legend, champion, scholar, just a good, all-round good bloke. He came up to me and he noticed that I didn't pick up a Mundy. So I was a bit gutted. But he had David Mundy's Indigenous jumper, which I have been able to match to training. So he did wear it during training a couple of days before, and he handed that jumper to me and said, "Here you go, mate. It belongs in your collection." So, Jack, you are a champion, mate. I don't care what anyone says about you. You're a bloody legend. So good on you, mate. I appreciate it very, very much. No doubt karma will come back your way. Okay, so for the clash, I picked up James Aish, Michael Walters, Hayden Young, Lockie Schultz, which is absolutely filthy, which you got to love when you see him hanging on the rack, and I did. I just seen it at the corner of my eye. I just seen this absolutely filthy white jumper. I said, grab that, don't care who it is, just pick it up. Turns out to be Lockie Schultz, who's a great player. He took a great mark on the weekend as well. Brandon Walker and Luke Ryan. So stoked with those Clash jumpers. Most of them are match worn. They're all mostly filthy. So I reckon they might be from the Crows game. So good day, that one. I picked up one purple and one white trainer. I just wanted one of each, and it turned out to be Liam Henry for both of them. Wasn't even sure. I thought I was hoping I picked up a match jumper of Liam Henry. It turned out I didn't. I just got two trainers, but yeah, still stoked to get those. For the women's jumpers, I got three home jumpers. I got Sabrina Duffy, Ashley Sharp, and Gabby O'Sullivan. And the away jumpers, I got Sabrina Duffy, Gemma Houghton, as I mentioned. Thank you very much again for those guys. Cara Antonio, Stephanie Kane, and Gabby O'Sullivan as well. So that is what I picked up at the sale. I did manage to pick up a whole bunch post-sale as well because there was a fair bit left over. And I also did quite a bit of trading and bought a few more off other people. So I did end up with a couple of Liam Henry match jumpers. I got his Indigenous jumper in a trade. I also got Sean Darcy's Indigenous in a trade. Michael Frederick and Heath Chapman's training jumpers in a trade. From the store, I managed to get Stephen Hill Clash, Darcy Tucker Clash, and Blake Akers Clash. Picked up some more home jumpers as well. Nathan Wilson, Brett Bewley, Lloyd Meek, and Sam Switkowski. Got a few more women's jumpers as well. Could not help myself. Another Ashley Sharp. Also got a 2017 Ashley Sharp. So anything inaugural is obviously great to pick up. 2017 Lara Filicomo. Angelique Stannett, 2020. Laura Pugh, Leah Mescal. I don't know this lady's name. I'm so sorry, but she's an Irish player. And I'm not going to try and mention her name because I'm going to completely stuff it up, so I'll just leave it as is. And a Bianca Webb and a 2017 Kirby Bentley. So that's all the women's jumpers I picked up. So, yeah, heaps of them, and I'm stoked to have them. There was also another gentleman who picked up, and he actually came up to me during the sale. I don't know if he listens to the show. Hopefully he does. But he came up and he had an Indigenous jumper. He's like, check out what I picked up. I don't know whose it is, but it's pretty cool, huh? Turned it around and it was number 13, Luke Ryan. And my heart sunk a little bit because I was hoping to get a Luke Ryan because I have every Luke Ryan Indigenous jumper since he started at the club. So I was like, oh, at least he's got it because I know one day I might be able to go back to him and offer up a trade. And that's exactly what happened. I actually had an Indigenous jumper that he wanted that I offered up to him because he did pick up a couple of these 2021 home Indigenous jumpers. So he was happy to do the trade with me, which I am stoked about. So thank you very much again for that. So I managed to chuck that one in the collection. I also picked up off eBay 2021 Liam Henry home player issue. Back at the store again, I got another 2021 Brett Bewley player issue and a Luke Valente training jumper as well, a Clash, which looks like it was worn in the preseason match sim, which is pretty cool. I also managed to get through another trade, a Joel Weston Indigenous player issue as well, which I have had Joel sign for me as well very recently too. So that was pretty cool. I actually have picked up a couple of PS5s for him, and he signed. He's a really nice kid, actually, a really good bloke. I enjoy having chats with him. He's just a good kid, just a normal kid. Loves his footy and just loves gaming, and yeah, just really good to chat with. So cheers to Joel. You're a good bloke. Now, as far as the auction pickups that I've got recently, I don't know if I mentioned it previously, so I'll just mention it again. The start was the very first auction that ever come up this season for a Seacom jumper was Luke Ryan's match worn against the Kangaroos. It's torn, so he got into a bit of a scrap. I can't remember who with at this point. Again, my research is terrible. I should have had a look at that. But anyway, it's pretty damn cool. So round 6, Luke Ryan, it's signed on front as well. Torn straight down the front. Got a great photo as well. So if I ever do a frame, it'll look great. I actually did have Frame Sport, who did Nat 5, ripped one, again, from the north as well a few years back. They showed me a good photo that they would like to do, and we actually shows front and back. So one day I might bring myself to do that. But it would be pretty cool if I double that up, actually, because I also picked up Adam Chera's ripped match-worn jumper as well, which is a Clash. So it actually works out rather well that I have a home and an away ripped jumper from this season. Another auction jumper was a 2021 Adam Chera Indigenous match-worn, which was the Clash Indigenous this time. Gorgeous looking jumper, and it only went for $400, which is insane. So cheap, especially for Adam Chera. He's playing so well. But I guess that everyone at the moment just thinks that he's going to leave, so they don't want to pay big dollars for it. So I was glad to swoop in and pick it up for $400 because I didn't have much money left after all these sales, to be perfectly honest with you. And the last jumper I picked up through the auctions was a 2021 Sam Switkowski Starlight Match Worn sign. If you haven't seen these Starlight jumpers, they are fantastic. Jump on and have a look. They are obviously a tribute to Millie, who passed away during the year. Had a lot to do with Freo, especially Nat 5, and I believe the Starlight Foundation last year was a little bit to do with it as well. So it's got 14 stars on the jumper, all drawn by her brother and sister, which is super cool. Great design, and it has a little picture of Millie at the top as well with her angel wings and a number 14 on her back. Still believe it should be the number 7 because every time she came out, she was with Nat 5 right on his hip. And I believe she had the number 7 on her back at all times as well. So, here's what it is. Fantastic looking design. It's a pity we played like absolute dog shit in it. But no, they still went mental price-wise, so... Yeah, it's good for the club, great for the Starlight Foundation, obviously great for the Millie Foundation too, because I believe all the money went to a foundation, of course, that Millie's family has started. So, yeah, fantastic for that. Obviously, great dollars for the club. And a lot of the player issues, unworn player issues, went huge dollars as well. So, everyone out there just loving the design. So, can't blame them. Looks great. I mentioned the 2020 Nat 5 State of Origin player issue jumper I picked up. Really cool. I actually thought it was the match-worn jumper that was unsold, or was actually sold by Official Memorabilia last year. It turns out it isn't that one because they just sold that one again. But this one was actually donated by Fifey to the club, or to the 32 auctions that we were talking about earlier. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if it's match-worn or not. I'd probably suggest it probably isn't. But anyway, it's still awesome. It's still great to have in the collection. Looks like there was only 2 made, so yeah, I'm definitely not going to complain about that. For $965, I was pretty happy to pay that, I'll be honest. And the last of the Freo jumpers I picked up was very recently a 2021 Caleb Sarong Clash Match Worn. A few stains on that one, so it looks great. So thank you to Ashton Schneider for that one. So follow up on the episode 25 I did, when I picked up the frame that I was excited about because I wasn't sure. It looked like it may have been a Vossi. I wasn't too sure. Obviously, it was frame front out. It was a long sleeve. It had the sublimated Lions logo all over it, so I was pretty certain it was a player issue. Well, I knew it was. I was just hopeful it had a number on it. Turns out it did, and it was indeed a long sleeve 2000 Michael Voss jumper. Player issue, no doubt. I doubt that he ever wore a long sleeve, or if he did, he didn't probably wear them in 2000. He did win the Best and Fairest that year, so super cool jumper to have. They did stuff up the sleeves when they framed it. Most of them do. The framers just don't really think about what could potentially happen later on when they unframe stuff. But it's still cool. It's a very, very cool long sleeve jumper. I've had a few people want it, but it takes some prying out of my hands to get that one. So that was definitely a very, very good punt to take, I reckon. Can't remember much I paid for it now. It's probably only about $250 I think I paid for it at most. So, yeah, definitely worth the punt. Also got a 2020 Eli Smith Indigenous player issue. Really attractive looking jumper, the Lions one. Thank you to Kai McWaters for that one. A 2020 Will Hayes Western Bulldogs player issue. And a 2019 Adam Sard long sleeve Bombers jumper by the man we just interviewed, actually, Heath O'Donovan. Thank you very much for that one. That's it. That is all I have picked up, footy-wise anyway, over the last 3 months. It's been a little bit. I can't even count how many there was, maybe closer to 50 jumpers, maybe even more than that over the last 3 months. Just crack me watch. Fantastic. I did pick up a few more NBA jumpers or jerseys just in case anyone is interested. I picked up a couple more. I can't actually remember what I had picked up previously, so I'll just tell you what I picked up, what I have picked up in total. So I got a Richard Jefferson 2008-2009 game-worn Milwaukee Bucks jersey. 2014-2015 Derek Williams Sacramento Kings jersey. The 2018-19 James Ennis game worn that I've spoken about before. 2018-2019 Patrick McCaw player issue Cleveland jersey. 2016-2017 Kristaps Porzingis game worn New York Knicks jersey. If you would like to get a game worn New York Knicks Kristaps Porzingis jersey, it's actually not that difficult to pick one up fairly cheap. It seems that all the Knicks fans hate him for leaving, so you can pick one up for after all the fees and all the taxes and shipping and all that, you probably pay about $400 to $450, but that is super cheap for a superstar of the game. So if you want one, you can definitely pick one up. Another one that popped up, which I bought immediately as soon as I saw it, even though it was $500, I jumped on it straight away. It was a 2017-2018 Donovan Mitchell rookie year player issue Utah Jazz jersey. So wasn't not letting that one pass me by at all. Still got a 2013-14 Omer Ashik. I think it's 2013-14. Could be wrong there. Chicago Bulls jersey, a home jersey on the way as well. I also just recently picked up an Anthony Tolliver Phoenix Suns jersey. So I've got a few jerseys on the way. And also, I don't know if you remember when I talked about on the Andy Munro episode, I picked up a DeMarcus Cousins jersey that never actually got shipped to me because they stuffed me over. A 2016-2017 DeMarcus Cousins home game-worn Sacramento Kings jersey. So, yeah, I finally did end up picking up a game-worn Sacramento Kings DeMarcus Cousins. I think I only paid $550, $560 for it, something like that. Sounds like a lot, but that's about average, what I've said before. It's about average what you'll pay for an NBA game-worn jersey or player-issue jersey. But it's for being an average, that would usually pick up a lower-ended player. DeMarcus Cousins is probably not that, or in my eyes is definitely not that. He was a superstar of the game. He's a multiple-time All-Star. So, yeah, I was absolutely rapt to pick that one up. And last but not least, of course, with the theme at the moment being the Olympics and the Australian Boomers playing really, really well through to the semi-final against the Americans. Fingers crossed we can do well there. Don't know about our chances, but if we play well, we can certainly beat them. We've shown that. I picked up an AJ Ogilvy 2011 game-worn Boomers jersey. It's massive. These NBA players and these just general basketball players are absolutely huge, and the jerseys they wear are gigantic. So, yeah, stoked to pick it up. AJ Ogilvy is not my favourite player, but it's just a really cool jersey to have. Anytime you can pick up a Boomers jersey, game-worn one especially, you usually just jump all over it. So, yeah, stoked to pick it up, of course. That's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Obviously, it's been a long episode because it's been some catching up over the last few months, but hopefully you're able to hang in there to the very end. So if you would like to join me on a future episode, let me know, of course. We'll get you on. But for now, ta-ta, good night, and good luck with your collection in the coming weeks.